Shruti here. I wrote a term paper on the center limit theorem, and that made me very curious about probability distributions. So, I was wondering if you could share your philosophical take on probability distributions, especially in today's world of big data.
Thank you, Shruti, for your question. About the distribution, it's often very difficult to find out what the distribution is. So, what I would typically do is to actually plot the numbers to see what it looks like. Let me give you a few examples. What do I do when I get a bunch of data? The first thing I do is to graph them to see what they look like. Does that make any sense? Do they actually show something that I can do something about? Let me give you two quick examples. Here is my first example. There are two separate graphs, one on the left, one on the right, a whole bunch of dots. One is actually something I generated using a two-dimensional random data. So they are all random numbers on a plane. The other one is taken from a photograph of glowworms in a cave in New Zealand. What I want you to think about is which one is which. Take a look at them. Which one looks like random to you and which one is the picture of glowworms in that cave? The answer is the one on the right are the glowworms in the cave. Why is that? Think of what they are doing, these glowworms in the cave in a mud wall. They are trying to look for food, and if there is somebody else in their space, then they are going to eat their food. So as a result, they want to stay as far away from each other as possible, and therefore that creates a natural space between them. On the picture on the left hand side, on the other hand, since these are random numbers, they can be very close. It doesn't matter, and that's how it will happen. So if you have some prior information, in other words, you can actually say something about them, and that becomes a critical bit of information about the data. Here is another data set in two dimension. So this is the picture of London. The thing that looks like a wiggle worm is actually the Thames running through London. Okay, so what we are concentrating on are bomb craters produced by German bombing. They appear as dots. The question is, are they randomly distributed or is there some pattern to it? And that became a very critical issue because the Germans had claimed they had actually produced some kind of guided missile system for dropping bombs. And the British did not know whether that information was true or whether it was some misinformation. So they actually gave this data to an actuary who analyzed this and said this pattern is consistent with as if they're random. So knowing that Germans were not able to target their bombs was a great relief, because otherwise it would have meant much more deaths. And so knowing something like this can become vital for policy purposes.